Hello everyone, this is Science Vines and you're watching the audiovisual chapter of Class 11th Biology. This is the first part of the chapter 4 Animal Kingdom. When you look around, you will observe different animals with different structures and forms. As over a million species of animals have been described till now, the need for classification becomes all the more important. The classification also helps in assigning a systematic position to newly described species. Basis of classification. In spite of differences in structure and form of different animals, there are fundamental features common to various individuals in relation to the arrangement of cells, body symmetry, nature of coelom, patterns of digestive, circulatory, or reproductive systems. These features are used as the basis of animal classification, and some of them are discussed here. First is level of organization. Though all members of Animalia are multicellular, all of them do not exhibit the same pattern of organization of cells. For example, in sponges, the cells are arranged as loose cell aggregates, that is, they exhibit cellular level of organization. Some division of labor or activities occur among the cells. In coelentrates, the arrangement of cells is more complex. Here, the cell performing the same function are arranged into tissues. Hence, is called tissue level of organization. A still higher level of organization, that is organ level, is exhibited by members of platyhelminths and other phyla, where tissues are grouped together to form organs, each specialized for a particular function. In animals like annelids, arthropods, mollusks, echinoderms and chordates, organs have associated to form functional systems, each system concerned with a specific physiological function. This pattern is called organ system level of organization. Organ systems in different groups of animals exhibit various patterns of complexity. For example, the digestive system of platyhelminths has only a single opening to the outside of the body that serves as both mouth and anus, and is hence called incomplete. A complete digestive system has two openings, mouth and anus. Similarly, the circulatory system may be of two types. First, open type, in which the blood is pumped out of the heart and the cells and tissues are directly bathed in it. And second, the closed type, in which the blood is circulated through a series of vessels of varying diameters, arteries, veins, and capillaries. Now we talk about the symmetry. Animals can be categorized on the basis of their symmetry. Sponges are mostly asymmetrical, that is, any plane that passes through the center does not divide them into equal halves. When any plane passing through the central axis of the body divides the organism into two identical halves, it is called radial symmetry. And as a diagrammatic representation, there is a diagram 4.1a which shows the radial symmetry. Any plane crossing from the or passing from the center of the organism divides it into equal two halves, that is called radial symmetry. Any plane, remember, any plane passing from the center of the organism divides it into two equal halves, that is radial symmetry. Now, coelentrates, ctenophores and echinoderms have this kind of body plan. Animals like annelids, arthropods, etc., where the body can be divided into identical left and right halves in only one plane. Remember, only one plane. Exhibit bilateral symmetry. Now let's talk about the diploblastic and triploblastic organization. Animals in which cells are arranged in two embryonic layers, an external ectoderm and internal endoderm, are called diploblastic animals. Examples: coelentrates. An undifferentiated layer, mesoglia, is present in between the ectoderm and endoderm. For a figure 4.2a is a diploblastic type, in which there is an external layer which is ectoderm, then comes the mesoglia, which is an undifferentiated layer, then comes the endoderm inside it. Now let us look at the B diagram as well, where there is ectoderm outside and the middle one is the mesoderm and the inner one is the endoderm. This is actually the true kind of organization of cells. So those animals in which developing embryo has a third germinal layer, mesoderm, in between the ectoderm and endoderm are called triploblastic animals, that is from platyhelminths to chordates. Now let us talk about the coelom. Presence or absence of a cavity between the body wall and the gut wall is very important in the classification. The body cavity which is lined by mesoderm is called coelom. Animals possessing coelom are called coelomates, that is, annelids, mollusks, arthropods, echinoderms, hemichordates, and chordates. In some animals, the body cavity is not lined by mesoderm. Instead, the mesoderm is present as scattered pouches in between the ectoderm and endoderm. Such a body cavity is called pseudocoelom, and the animals possessing them are called pseudocoelomates. Example, Aschelminths. The animals in which the body cavity is absent are called acoelomates, that is, platyhelminths. Now, segmentation. In some animals, the body is externally and internally divided into segments with a serial repetition of at least some organs. For example, in earthworm, the body shows this pattern called metameric segmentation, and the phenomena is known as metamerism. Notochord is a mesodermally derived rod-like structure formed on the dorsal side during embryonic development in some animals. Animals with notochord are called chordates, and those animals which does not form this structure are called non-chordates. Example, Porifera to echinoderms. Now, classification of animals. The broad classification of Animalia based on common fundamental features as mentioned in the preceding sections is given in figure 4.4. So what we here have is there is a kingdom Animalia which is multicellular, and according to the level of organization there is a cellular level and the tissue, organ and organ system level. Cellular level symmetry goes mostly asymmetric, coelom is acoelomates and phylum is Porifera. When we talk about the tissue, organ and organ system, we go to the symmetry radial and bilateral, and that radial goes to the acoelomates cavity, and then that goes to the phylum Coelenterata, Cnidaria or Ctenophora. If we talk about the bilateral one goes without body cavity acoelomate, with which is platyhelminths, with false coelom which is pseudocoelomates, that goes with the aschelminths, and with true coelom goes Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. Now in this figure, Echinodermata is actually marked with a star, and you just need to read this. Echinodermata exhibits radial or bilateral symmetry depending on the stage. Technically, or if you go on the facts, the larvae of echinoderms are bilateral symmetric, and the adult stage of echinoderm exhibits radial symmetry, or more technically biradial symmetry. So technically there is a word which we call as retrogressive metamorphism, which means that evolutionary basis the bilateral symmetry is more advanced than the radial one. But in this case, echinoderms, the larva is bilateral symmetric and the adult is a radial symmetric. So this is known as retrogressive metamorphosis. It is going down to the evolution, not coming forward, going backward to the evolutionary process kind of a thing. So we just have termed it as a retrogressive metamorphosis. Now here comes the end to the first part of this chapter 4, Animal Kingdom. To watch more such videos, do subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss any video. And if you want us to create more such videos on any other book or subject, do mention in the comment section please. Like and share the video to keep us motivated and create such content. Thank you for watching the video. Bye bye. Love love.